Konnichiwa. My name is Rohit Shiv Prasad and I'm the founder of RSP in Japan. Well, you might be very interested in Japan or you might think that you know all about it. And you might have heard a few YouTubers talk that Japan is like this, Japan is like that. Even I do that. Even I talk a lot about Japan. Well, today's video is a little bit different. So I am going to tell you 10 things that you did not know about Japan, and I can bet that no one told you. Well, you are going to know a lot about it today. So watch the video till the end to know 10 things that you never heard about Japan. The first one is going to be the ready to go meals. Japanese people are workaholic, right? Everyone knows that. Japanese people work a lot. They are very dedicated to their work, which is great, admirable. But they do not have time for themselves. Sometimes not even to cook the food. That is why Japanese people depend most or are too much dependent upon ready to go or ready to eat meals, which means ramen, cup ramen, tiffins, obento, frozen meals, fast food, and things like that, sometimes even coffee. But trust me, the ready to eat meals or the bentos are very tasty. The next one is my favorite because it is that you pay your own part only. If you're going or participating in a party in Japan, or if you're going with your colleagues or something like that, you just have to pay your part. The profession or the custom of treating is not so well known here in Japan. Well, I have experienced it myself. People pay their own part. It's not obvious or it's not something like that you have to do, but people go with that understanding. And usually at restaurants, this you might not know or might not have heard about. In restaurants, the people who are giving the bill will ask you, do you want us to break the bill in three parts if there are three people, or four parts if there are four people? They're very kind and it helps out when you're going out with your girlfriend. Or if you're simply going out on a date and you don't want to pay the whole bill because it's too much. So you can simply ask them to break the bill or divide the bill. I don't know what to say, but just half half. Now the next thing is going to be domestic violence. Well, you might have heard that Japan mein domestic violence is quite much. If I'm not heard, it's very serious, a serious problem here in Japan. There is a reason behind it. The reason is people here are very work oriented, very work focused. So they do not have time for themselves. And that leads to a certain level of frustration. And it's not good, but they take out their frustration on things that they're not supposed to take their frustration out on. So domestic violence is something that is very serious here in Japan. And I have seen a lot of advertisements where they try to convey people to stop this. And I have seen like in public toilets or things, or even in convenience stores, there are posters saying stop violence. Now the next thing is very interesting because it is that the tipping culture is not allowed in Japan. Well, you have to understand that Japanese people have this kind of thought. If anyone is paying money, they have to give them the complete service, which means that if I am giving 1,000 yen and someone is giving 12,000 yen, the service is not gonna vary. Yes, the accommodations and things like they get if they pay more money is going to be the same, but personally, for example, if I'm the waiter, I am going to treat everyone the same way, no matter how much food they order. And you have to understand, when you give a tip to someone, the service gets biased towards the person who gives the tip. And Japanese people do not allow that. That is why tipping is not allowed here in Japan. Also, I have a feeling that everyone earns a lot. So tipping is not allowed and it is very rude. If you keep a tip, you're probably gonna be returned the money instead of they keeping it. Or it's gonna be kept there only with the, for example, you keep, after eating the food, you keep the money on the table as tip. The money is going to be there. Or it is simply going to be kept as a wasuremon, which is lost property. So make sure you don't do that. Also, it's rude. The next one is quite shocking and annoying because there are no dustbins. Like, seriously, no dustbins. The dustbins are inside the convenience stores, or even in the universities you can find here and there, and sometimes there are in the supermarkets and things like that, but on the streets I did not see any dustbins. So basically, if you're doing something, if you want to throw something, you have to carry it with you to the place, because if you throw, the place is so clean that you throw something and it can be seen from far away. So now I have adapted, or I have made that habit of, if I have a wrapper, for example, I ate a chocolate, and if I have a wrapper, I would simply put it in my pocket and carry it either to the convenience store where the dustbin is, or simply carry it to my home and throw it in the garbage. Also, in my building, there is no garbage, or there is no dustbin as such. You have to collect everything in a packet and throw it in a place where everyone is supposed to throw the garbage. And you can't throw it without having a proper plastic bag. There is a thing. I'll put that in another video. The next one is going to be very interesting, and from here on it becomes more serious. And of course, kaan khol ke rakhna because it is interesting. Cycles are also considered as cars. Yes, you're not gonna get a license. It's not that serious, but they're thinking about it. So, cycles or bicycles have a number plate. They have a registration. I have that documents which say that my cycle ka number is this. This is where it becomes serious. If you're drunk and if you're riding a bicycle, it's a violation of law. I think it's violation in law in my country too, but here it's more severe. Like, you're gonna be charged the same fine and things like that. So be careful. Do not drink and ride a bicycle. First of all, it's very dangerous because I'm learning about traffic accidents and things like that. So do not do that. And secondly, drink responsibly. The next one is going to be bribing. Now, Japan there is no bribing at all. The under the table custom is not here in Japan, and it is very, 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 very serious. When I say this, I mean that, let's take an example. A police officer is your friend. You guys go in a restaurant nicely. You treat. You be like, I'll pay this time. If you pay, he's your friend, right? You're eating a lunch or dinner or whatever together. You can pay because he's your friend. But if he is in his uniform and if you pay for him, that is considered bribing here in Japan. Well, that is how serious it is. Also, as I told you, tipping is not allowed. Now you can connect it here. Everyone is given the same service. If you bribe someone, the service becomes biased towards the person who bribed you. So to avoid that, again, Japanese people are very, 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 very strict towards bribing. So now we have reached the top 3, and you are going to learn something very interesting about Japan. That is, most of the people here in Japan are non-religious. Let me repeat myself. I do not mean that Japanese people do not have an interest in God or things like that. They are atheist or something like that. No, I'm saying they have no religion. Majority of them. This is when I was having a conversation with my friend. I have a thing where my students, I teach Japanese, so my students talk to Japanese people, and there was a discussion where the topic was, you have to talk about religion. There was an interesting question asked from my students to that person, which was, what do you do when you go to a jinja, the temple? Well, the answer was very ambiguous. So if you want to know or do not believe me, ask a Japanese person, what religion are they? You probably are not going to get an answer. But if you get one, it's gonna be Christian or Buddhist. So that is how it is. That is something that even I was shocked when I came to know. Well, there are 2 more shocking things. This is 3. The next one is going to be more interesting because it's very serious. Now, drinking and driving is serious anywhere in the world. But the fines here in Japan are ridiculously high. Very high. Very, 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 very high. When I say this, I mean, let's just imagine you're drinking and driving. Don't do that. Never do that. Ever. It's dangerous. Drink responsibly and everything like that. But if you're doing that And if you're stopped by a cop, you're checked. If you are drunk, you are fined with, I think, 5 lakh yen, 550 man yen. 50 man? Yeah, 5 lakh. It's too much, 5 lakh yen. I'll show it to you on Google. So it's fine. Then you will be sent to jail. Okay. Also, it does not end there. You will be fired from your company because apparently your company is going to be ashamed of what you did. Then you will also have trouble finding a new job. So basically, if you drink and drive, your life is ruined. Your life is just gone. You're not gonna be doing anything. Does not end there. The person sitting beside you in the passenger seat front is going to have to face the same consequences. Why? Because he did not ask you to stop, do not drive because you're drunk. Basically, he is going to pay also the fines and he is going to go to the jail, probably less, but then he's going to go to, and he is also going to be fired. So don't do that. Just don't do that. And the fines here are way beyond your paycheck. So before you commit a crime or before you do something what you're not supposed to do, everything runs to your mind. And people are afraid, like they're very scared. If they do something like this, like simply drinking and driving, once or twice you might think that, okay, I'm not so drunk, and you drive and get caught, well, it's gone. Everything till now, whatever you worked up to, is gone. Japanese people always make sure that they clarify on their part things that they should not do to offend us. They are so considerate. You cannot call that racism. You cannot call it racism if someone is not sitting beside you. Instead, you should be happy. You can sit aram se. Racism is when you need to stand in a completely different line to get the same thing done. Also, you do not get mugged if you are the same religion of the mugger, the person who is going to mug you. That is what racism is. And also a very extreme degree of racism is going to be when you are driving on a highway, someone comes beside you, comes at the same speed, asks you to lower your window, and then just tries to spit. That is called racism. Someone not sitting beside you is not racism. Just not racism. And commenting just on simple basis or very few idea on what racism actually is, commenting that Japan is a racist country is a very, very wrong practice, and people should actually quit it. Just Japan, according to me, is the most friendly country when it comes to foreign countries that I have been to. And you have to keep in mind that Japanese people themselves have been the victim of racism. How can someone who is a victim of racism criticize someone else? Come on, you have to think about it. When you say I understand it's all about the views on YouTube and things like that, but then still just try not to offend someone else. So that is going to be everything that you might not have heard about Japan, and now you know everything. So please subscribe our channel. Also, do not forget to visit our website because we have started to teach languages like German, French, Spanish, etc. Please subscribe and stay updated. Thank you.